All right, we're back again with this 5077 USA Grundig Majestic table radio. We've recapped it, checked the resistors, we've cleaned up the chassis. Now the chassis kind of looks like it might looks a little bit like it might have a little rust on it, but I don't know what kind of color that is, but it's not a rust. It's a kind of a brownish color looking. Navel jelly didn't even hit it. It must be some kind of a finish that they put on their chassis when they manufactured them, because it would not. I couldn't get it cleaned up, so what I did was I gave it a slight overspray with some semi-gloss, and to protect it and keep the moisture off of it. If it's not rust, it hasn't rusted to this point, so it should not rust, period. We have we have 4 tubes that was replaced in this. 3, 1, 2, 3. We have 3 tubes that was replaced in this. The 4th tube was the magic eye tube. Right under here. Those things have really went up in price. I bought one for my RCA International table radio, which is almost just like this radio, similar. It uses the same eye tube, and I think I paid $40 for that tube, if I'm not mistaken. I priced them now. If you can get one, the cheapest you'll get it is around $100. Other places are charging upwards of about $140, and you can get a substitute from Europe and the Soviet Union for about $10 or less, but the shipping is probably about $20. But it's damn cheaper, but you'd have to modify the tube in order to fit in your unit if it requires one of these EM34s or EM35s. So this one here is one that I had in my radio when I got it, and when I bought the other one, I pulled this one out and I stuck it on the shelf because it does work, but it's really dark. I mean, you have to get up pretty close to it and look at it, but it does work. So I'm going to have to let the owner decide whether or not he wants to go that much for another one. Now the clutch assembly, I know I covered it before in another video. I must have taken this assembly apart 7 times, at least 7 times. I mean, with the tuning shaft completely out of it and all the subcomponents removed. It is a tussle, let me tell you, especially when you got to deal with your AM tuning string and your FM tuning string. The FM's on the rear and the AM broadcast is on shortwave is on the front. I had replaced the clutch assemblies with pads at one point, and after 2 or 3 attempts at tuning, they'd start slipping again. So I had to remove that thing again, and what I put was, I'll include some snapshots of it. I think 60 grit sandpaper that I fixed onto the clutch assemblies, front and back, and on the front face and the rear face of the flywheel. That gave it much better bite. However, after trying to get the mechanism set just right for when the push buttons are operated, I could get the FM disengaged, but the front wouldn't engage fully. It would slip, and of course, consequently, that would mean that the thing was just grinding off the grit of the face of the sandpaper. So I removed it and made an adjustment to the clutching the disengagement mechanism for both sides, and stuck it back together, and I did that 7 times. The final straw was, I had some heavier spring here, and if you notice, I don't know if you can see it with the light the way it is. The back one is the original spring. It's a little darker color and it's thinner, and the front is a heavier spring, and it's got a silver look to it. Well, that fixed it. So that's what was done with the switching mechanism on the clutch for the various bands. Let me see if I can turn this thing over. I'll give you a shot on the underside of the chassis, what all was completed there. This here had, for the antenna rotation, the original string was broken, and so I put some nylon cord in here with a heavy spring, and it goes on over here to a switch, the switching knob that turns on the ferrite antenna assembly and switches it from ferrite to regular, to the regular I don't know if you can see it there, to the regular external antenna. That external antenna is for shortwave broadcast, shortwave 1 and 2. This port over here is for your FM. That's the FM dipole inside the cabinet, and this mechanism here, let's see if I can get everything in the shot here. It's off, and when you turn it on, you can rotate the antenna with rotating this knob, and then it turns it back off. This lamp here was replaced. Fortunately, I found a place that had the same kind of, well, not the same kind, but similar bulbs. They weren't the same, but they worked. with a slight modification. I had to add a little metal washer to the base of it in order to get it to work in there. So that worked out. All the other lamps in here, in these boxes, are for the controls for the voice multisonic orchestra jazz. Push any of one of these and the corresponding lamp comes on, and it gives you an indication on the face of the dial. These here are just tone enhancements. The one on the left is for the bass tones. This one here is for intermediate bass. Mid-range. This one here is mid-range to high frequency, and this one here is your high frequencies. And it does give some punch. And let's see, the front face was cleaned up and oversprayed with some gloss to give it a little bit of a reflectivity. Both dial lamps were replaced. What else did I do here? I think that's it for the top side. We'll check the bottom side next. Alright, electrolytics here, here, here. The can was removed, cut open, and new caps put in here for the filtering, and reassembled and sealed. Didn't do anything with the rectifier. It is still going strong. Replaced the caps in the I believe this is the AM board. We got the caps dotted in here, a couple of spots right there, right there. In here, this is all the tone controls caps. There was none on the FM shortwave board that was needed to be accessed in here. Over here in the front end, there was a couple. Let's see. I don't believe there was any resistors in here that needed to be changed out. Lubricated all the lever switches and the tone assembly. There is another look at the clutching mechanism. I was really worried about doing this 7 times because I had to remove this little gizzy lever here. That, I don't know if you can see it, probably can't see it very well with the lighting the way it is. But the this is real close to these coils. So that shaft comes through there just to about that point. And this here actuates this arm here for the clutching, and that is the FM lever switch for that. Which reminds me, I have to get a C-clip back up in there, and so it doesn't fall out. But that's pretty much it we did for the bottom side. Um, and she comes up pretty good. She's pulling about a half an amp. And I think it's rated, the fuse is rated at 0.7, so it's doing just fine. So we'll get to the next segment. Just wanted to get this done and get this recorded so I could get it posted up. Next thing is the cabinet is just about ready. I've redid the speaker grill cloth and cleaned up the speakers housings and cones, and the cabinet has been refinished, and it's waiting to have its guts put back in it. So stay tuned for the final.